VenomousStare, I just got done with a big move, got my PC set up at my new house. The internet is in abhorrent disgrace and I'm trying to upgrade it, but thankfully the internet is good enough to watch esoteric Brood War VODs from over a decade ago in the highest quality available, 480p. I'm glad you guys are continuing to follow me along my journey of cataloging StarCraft history. And this is a continuation of the game that was uploaded previously on the channel. Last game we saw Greg IdrA surprisingly leave a game after he accidentally canceled his own command center. So if you like IdrA Rage, if you like to see Greg do silly stuff, that was one of the best games of all time for that. On this channel, we try to cover the esoteric wins of IdrA's career, like when he beat Select at the Asus ROG All-Stars Invite in 2011. I've done well over 500 StarCraft videos on this channel, and I haven't done the IdrA MMA early leave, I haven't done the IdrA Huck early leave, which of course is just really easy views, and I sort of want to cover the deep cuts on this channel. I mean, everyone knows about, the game IdrA left early versus MMA, the hallucinated Void Ray game versus Huck. Well, not as many people knew that, Nony sent a probe across map last game on Neo Tornado and forced Greg to cancel his command center, and IdrA goes from being up 1-0 and having all the momentum in the series and being the heavy favorite to win the tournament, to now it's 1-1. And you're facing the best foreigner Protoss at the time, and a guy who almost won a Courage tournament in Korea. If you don't know, the Courage tournament in Korea was a tournament that you had to win to get a pro gamer's license. Back in Brood War, when Kespa dominated the scene in a very heavy-handed and overbearing way, you had to have a pro gamer's license to be considered a legit pro gamer, and you had to win a big tournament versus all the legendary Koreans who were also trying to work their way into the scene. A lot of the up-and-comers, a lot of the B-teamers that have been practicing for 12 hours a day. So like Effort, Flash, Shadong, and Bisu won Courage tournaments way before that and got their licenses. But you think about all these extremely talented players in Korea and how they were all trying to work their way towards being a legitimate pro gamer, and they were crammed into those tiny team houses working their ass off, playing the most daunting and intimidating and most skillful game ever created. It really does go to show that this is something completely legitimate and really cool that these cats were trying to do in terms of learning Brood War and trying to master Brood War, because this is the most skillful, intense, worth watching esport to ever exist, and it's not close. So Nony is going for a bit of one gate pressure here. He started Dragoon range as soon as the Cyber Core finished, and a second Zealot is on the way, and he's going to pressure IdrA's front door. Now IdrA has started its factory already, but this is a very bizarre map. This is Outsider. It's very hard to describe verbally, and because this is an old VOD, I can't just click and show the map. As you see, proxy pylon going down there for Nony. Remember, there's no warp gate in Brood War, so that's going to be used for a proxied structure. Almost certainly proxy robo reaver. You didn't really see people proxy much other stuff. Even if they were going to go DT, they might just hide it somewhere in the corner of their base. It was much less likely that they were going to hide the Citadel in the Templar archives out in the middle of the map, because this is one of those spots where you're either going to put gateways or robos out there. So IdrA took the first game intelligently defending DT drop, hitting right at a power trough, and showing he wasn't a overly mechanical robot that did the same builds every game, as it is in fact a robo facility. And he went for a 1-base, 2-factory Vulture drop, and 2 Zealots are at the base of the ramp, and they're going to pressure with the Goon, and remember, Goon range is out here, so this is going to be very difficult for the Kraken to hold off. Only a couple of Jim Raynors out here, and they're firing upon the Zealots. Nony trying to reposition the Zealots onto the depot, and if you're Toss here, you're just looking to break down the depot. This is a nice little wall here from the Kraken, and IdrA trying to repair and also trying to keep the Marines back out of Goon range, because the Goon and the Zealot are both very strong early against Terran. Terran is the weakest race earliest on, and really the entire meta of this matchup revolves around getting that first tank out to defend against stuff, and IdrA repairs his depot as the second Goon comes out. But remember, it's proxy robo here for Nony, so Nony is going to hit IdrA in the mouth with the Reaper very quickly. And whenever you have very good macro and you're on one base and you're a top flight American pro gamer and you make the robo right outside someone's freaking main base, the Reaver's just going to get there ridiculously quickly. And again, Zealot Dragoon pressure at the front door here, and IdrA's taking the bottom left base, which Outsider's weird because imagine like a donut, there's like an entire ring of outside bases for Outsider, but they're walled off with minerals, and it's just a very convoluted, clunky, tricky map. And it's like if you take the base in the bottom left, if you take it in the bottom left corner, you have a gas, and if you take it where IdrA took it, it's a mineral only. So this is an absolutely bizarro off-the-wall map that actually got featured in ASL, sort of brought back. This was a map that was around in like 0809 Pro League. Not one of my favorites. No one really thinks like, oh, Outsider. That always produced great games. And IdrA has a couple tanks out, and he's transferring workers to his natural, and Nony is still on one base, and this is one of those situations where the Protoss player is getting very aggressive and very cheesy and is doing whatever he can to break the Terran. And here we're going to see basically a bulldog maneuver. A bulldog maneuver is whenever you use the shuttle to circumvent the building wall and siege tank of your Terran opponent and sort of drop on top of them. And remember, the siege tanks want to be sieged up, have a lot of stuff in front of them, whether it be vultures, mines, a wall in. And IdrA knows if he just sieges up here, he's vulnerable to being bulldog because then the tanks can team fire. So he's going to keep a few tanks on siege. And the Reaver is dropped here. Nony really wants to bust the front door and flood in here. IdrA really relying on the wall in. One of the goons goes down. And this is a very tenuous situation as the Kraken has no vultures and no tanks, and a big scarab shot there kills the tanks. Every little tank matters. Whenever you have more goons than tanks and you have Reavers too, it can be tricky. The Reaver dropped off, does huge damage to the tank, and the goon finishes it off. And nice vulture. No, not vulture, but Reaver rather. Beautiful Reaver micro as Nony picks up another unit there. Busts the front door during the mayhem. And this is the nightmare scenario for IdrA, where once that front door goes down, you're up shit creek. The toss can just flood in. And Nony is being aggressive against IdrA again. IdrA taps out. So Nony goes from being down 0-1 to quickly being up 2-1, and IdrA self-destructed and emulated in game 2, and in that game Nony went for a one base proxy reaver bust. So the next map is going to be on Destination, which was a way better map than Outsider, and Artosis said it was Protoss favorite at the time. And it's interesting to me because whenever I think about Destination, I think of a lot of classic Brood War games. This is one of those maps where if you throw it on, you should sort of be able to remember the layout of it. And it is one of those classic maps that I think could be remade and tweaked a little bit to be used in the current version. And then if they do go to Game 5, it'll be on Fighting Spirit, a map that if you've seen any Brood War, you know what Fighting Spirit is. So Nony takes that game. Go ahead and leave me a like rating. I fucking love you guys. Sub for more.